All right. The playoffs have officially arrived. I'm not like most people. I don't count the wild card as the playoffs. I count that as a series to get into the playoffs. Is it considered postseason? Yeah, because the season's over for everybody. But I don't call it playoffs. I call it just postseason. It's like you didn't do enough to get into the playoffs, so you got to play this other team to see who deserves to get into the playoffs. And now the teams are in the playoffs, which are Detroit, New York, Cubbies, and LA. So now that the playoffs are starting tomorrow, here's what I got. I did not have Detroit beating Cleveland. I was riding Cleveland's hot streak. I thought they were going to be better than that. But somebody also told me that Cleveland's lineup is like a big trench coat, and J-Ram's head is up there, but underneath is just a bunch of raccoons. Imposters. Guys, who are they? And I watched the offense, and that's what it looked like. So I should have taken heed to that analogy there and probably steered clear of Cleveland because I had them making it to the World Series. Now I feel like an idiot, but that's the beauty of this. I can reset and see what I got going in the next round or the first round of playoffs. And we're going to get into it right now. This is the Hold My Ball podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get a little intro. Let's get a little music, and let's get to the show. Detroit over Cleveland. They're going to be playing Seattle, New York in a phenomenal series over Boston. They're going to be seeing Toronto. LA did what we expected them to do against the Reds. They are going to be at the Phillies. And the Cubbies squeaked past the old San Diego Padres. A real shame. But they're going to be playing the Brewers. Let's break it down. Detroit, I do not think they have the pitching. If they had a couple Scoobles, I would take them to win the World Series. Hands down, favorites. But they don't. They got Scooble, they got Mize, they got Flaherty. I don't think it's enough for this Seattle offense. However, any team that had a bye, to me, is an absolute guessing game. 100% guessing game. Don't know how they're going to come out. Don't know how they're going to look. Seattle, no different to me. I am taking them to win this series, but man, oh man, is it going to be crazy? It's going to be a good one. Seattle fans are going to be fired up. I do hope for either team, honestly, Detroit or Seattle. Man, both those teams deserve, I think, whatever success comes their way in this series and moving forward beyond it. The Yanks and the Blue Jays, an interesting one to me. The Yankees, I got to say this. Let me say this. The Yankees-Boston series was good, but man, you get to the biggest game of the season in the MLB was Boston and New York. I don't care what anybody says. That was the biggest game of the season. It's the biggest rivalry in all of baseball historically. I mean, you get a deciding game in the Bronx, and you roll two rookies out there in Early and Schlittler, and they both delivered, man. Early, we'll start with him. I thought he pitched really well. I thought the defense let him down in that 4-spot inning, and that was the only inning they scored. I feel bad for Early. I thought he pitched his ass off for the time he was in. I thought he did well. But on the other end, Schlittler with a record historic performance. What a thing of beauty. I'm a baseball fan overall, and watching a 24-year-old rookie in the biggest game of his life go 8 innings, 12 Ks, no walks, no runs. Man, oh man. I would have loved to see him go out for the 9th just because, hey, one base runner, I'm pulling you, but fuck, go make something even cooler than what you've already made happen. That would have been awesome. But I do credit Boone for even rolling him out there in the 8th at 100 pitches. Finished 7 innings, 100 pitches, rolled him out there for the 8th. Although I do think Boone's hands were tied on that. I think after pulling Fried in game 1, he had no option. I mean, if he pulls Schlittler right there and the pen gives it up, that to me is a no-brainer for Boone on the old teeter-totter of, do I pull him or do I leave him in? I don't even think it was a question in his brain. I think he was very happy that Schlittler looked good, healthy, rolled him out there, because in my head, if I'm Boone and I get all the backlash, and I know that these guys don't manage based off social media and the news outlets and what everybody's saying, but I feel a whole lot better because I know everybody would be just fine with me rolling Schlittler out there for the 8th and watch him get hit a little bit and then having to bring a reliever in versus why throw him out there. Nobody's going to say that. I don't think anybody's going to say that. I just don't think there would have been one person that said, why would you put him out there? So I think he went with the right call and, in my opinion, the easy call for many reasons. And it worked out, and I'm glad it did for the kid, and I like it. I would have loved to see him go out for the ninth just to say, hey, old school baseball's back, baby. Old school baseball's back. Pitcher's doing well. Let him ride. Let him finish the game. 122 pitch, complete game shutout, 13 Ks or something. That would have been sick. But what he did, regardless, was absolutely awesome to watch. Really good baseball. And the Yankees have been playing much better. So they are. Let's look at this. I got Seattle over Detroit. Yankees and Toronto. Again, I don't know what to tell you. I will say this. Overall, I think hitting is more important than pitching in the postseason. I know pitching is like everybody, they got pitchers. Great, but give me a team that can leave the yard a little bit. Give me a team that can manufacture runs. But more importantly, you got to give me the team that can hit the ball out of the yard with several guys, because the pitching is all very good in the postseason. These are the best pitchers in the world, and they're extra dialed in, and they're making sure they're not making as many mistakes, and they're making sure that they're missing spots correctly, and they're hitting spots correctly. There's more command in the postseason than there is in the regular season because it matters more, and they dial in. So everybody's going to be rolling out pretty darn good pitching. And yeah, good pitching beats good hitting, sure, but it beats it in a sense of, if you don't leave the yard, good pitching wins, because it's hard to string 2 or 3 hits together to score a guy versus a walk and one mistake by the pitcher, and you got a guy that can capitalize, put it out of the yard. Now you got 2 runs. You got 2 runs on 1 hit versus we scrapped away against this guy that was really good up there today, and we got a run. Look at Crochet. He gave up the solo shot to Volpe early in the game, and that's all they got. He ended up going 7 or 8. I don't know how many he went. Did he go 8? Yeah, he went 8 innings, and then Chapman came in and gave everybody a big old scare, but eventually got the job done. You got to go yard. You're not going to string together 2 or 3 hits in an inning and score runs against a guy like that. You're not going to do it against a Skubal. You might not apparently do it against a Schlittler. You're not going to do it against a lot of guys on this Seattle Mariners team. You're not going to do it against the Dodgers staff. You're not going to do it against Sanchez with the Phillies. You know, you got to be able to leave the yard in the playoffs because it's a big deal. Holding offenses to 0 or 1 is tough. I'd rather lose 8-7 than lose 2-1 or 1-0. Put the runs up on the board. Give yourself a chance. Yankees, Toronto. Who do I have? Again, very, very difficult to know what Toronto's going to do. I took the Yankees to get past them in my first bracket. Looking at it now, I don't know how I feel about the Yankees, but I am going to take them again. I'm going to take them over to Toronto just because I think they're playing better baseball. I think they're in a good headspace as a team. I think the locker room's probably in a pretty good spot. I think the rookie doing what he did last night is going to be a little catalyst and up the whole morale in general. I like the Yankees to win this one. I just do. Cubbies and Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee would rather have played the Cubs if you asked them over the Padres. Padres bullpen is disgusting, but this goes to my point. If you can't hit, it doesn't really matter. It just doesn't matter. They couldn't score. You can't score, you can't win. I'd rather take my chances of 9 guys that can leave the yard and hit the shit out of the ball in your lineup, which I think right now probably really only the Dodgers have that. But I'd rather take 9 guys and maybe 1 or 2 of them gets into one, puts it out of the yard, gives us 2 or 3 runs versus a team that we got to try to scrap, manufacture, figure it out. It's tough. It's tough against good pitching. So I think the Brewers play a brand of baseball that this break is not going to be bad for them. I think it's actually going to be really good. Get them healthy, get them rested. I don't think the Cubs have what it takes in general, but I think looking at Milwaukee, they play a brand of baseball that I don't really think slumps, kind of the opposite of what I was just saying, which is you need to hit home runs, you need to do this, but that's not what they've been doing. They have the best record in baseball because they've been playing good, clean baseball. I got the Brewers rolling through this 3-1, maybe even a sweep, to be honest. I just think their brand of baseball is my favorite. I don't think they have to change anything. You see these teams in the wild card, they start bunting. They don't even know how. They bunt one, pop it back up to the pitcher, or they bunt it hard at the third baseman when there's a runner on first and he gets hosed at second. You're like, what? Bunt it the other way. That's the plan. Or you bunt it back to the pitcher and the guy from second gets thrown out at third, and you're like, what are we bunting for? You didn't bunt all season. Teams change the way they play, which tells me that's winning baseball. You're trying to win the game in the playoffs. So naturally, watching teams bunt and steal and even maybe a little hit and run with Jazz. I don't think it was a hit and run. Maybe, because he was kind of looking in, not running full speed right off the jump. But you got Wells, he hits one off the line. He scores from first. If he's not stealing there, if it's not a hit and run, he doesn't score. And you might even lose that game. That was the game-winning run. So you see teams play a different brand of baseball. I don't think the Brewers are going to have to play a different brand whatsoever. They've been pushing it offensively. They've been pressuring the defense all year. They've been scrapping at bats away. They've been pitching. They've been playing defense. I really like the Brewers here. I got them beating the Cubs. LA and Philly, this to me is the World Series. It just is. See, I wish this was a 7-game series. Why don't you get rid of the wild card, make it what it used to be, which is 1 game, end of the season. You played 162 games. We gave you all those chances to wrap something up and get yourself into playoffs. You didn't do it. We're giving you one more chance, not a 3-game series. You get one more chance. You cut that to 1 game and then make it 7 games. The DS, the CS, and the World Series, 7 games apiece. You got to win 4, 8, 12 games if you're already in playoffs. If you're a wild card team, you got to win 13. What's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, it's. I think it might even be. It's less. Right now, the way it's set up, you got to win 2 games as a wild card. You got to win 3 in the next one. That's 5. Then you got to win 4. That's 14 games. You got to win more games. So if you cut the wild card down to 1, you got to only win 1 there, then 4. That's 5, 9, 4. That's 13. You got to win 1 less. Just, I don't know. In the 1 game, everybody's available. We got to get there. We played 162. Here comes 163 to get to playoffs. Sign me up for that again. I loved that. Now, Phillies, Dodgers. I'm going to go Dodgers. I'm going to tell you why. I know. I got the Dodgers hat on. I picked them to win the World Series. I said it a while ago. They don't care about the regular season because nobody in their division pushes them or makes them care about it. Nobody. The Rockies were 49 games back. San Fran wasn't much this year. Arizona had a late chance to maybe squeak into there, and then the Padres had their chance clearly late, and they just pissed it away. So nobody's pushing the Dodgers to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. This is their 13th divisional series in a row. They don't care about regular season. They truly don't. They care about the playoffs. And I said it, if they're healthy getting into the playoffs, that's all they care about. And guess what? They're healthy. They got their catcher in Smith that's not healthy right now. Hopefully he's good. I know he's going to be on the roster. You know, but Verdette, whatever his last name is, that dude's been awesome. I could see him if he ends up playing more and Will Smith is not good to go. I could see Verdette sticking with what he's been doing, and that would turn into like a Evan Carter with Texas Rangers situation where he came up, made his debut just before playoffs, and then raked through the playoffs and became this kind of playoff legend. I could see that happening with Verdette if he just starts hitting the ball, catching, gets his time, and does well. But here's why I think the Dodgers over the Phillies. And I'll also tell you why I think if it doesn't happen, why it's going to happen the other way. If the Phillies do win, I'll tell you why I think that'll happen. But I think LA, they got the mound presence. They got the pitchers. I mean, anytime you're thinking about your rotation and your bullpen, and it's like, okay, which one of our Cy Young winning future Hall of Fame pitchers do we want to put in relief? That's crazy. When you got Ohtani, you got Kershaw, you got Glasnow, you got Snell, you got Sasaki, you got Yamamoto. What are we talking about, dude? What's better than that? So when you're taking half those guys and moving them to the bullpen, it's disgusting. It almost doesn't even feel fair. And then you got Trinan, you got Vesia, you got Again, Savicki, who closed the game, looked really good, may do it again. Maybe they're closer now. But that bullpen is like the Twilight Zone. It's been unbelievable. They can't get outs. They can't do anything. So if they figure out the bullpen, the Dodgers are the World Series champions. If they don't figure out that bullpen, the Dodgers are losers of the NLDS to the Philadelphia Phillies. And what the Phillies have to do in order to make that happen, you got to keep it within 2 runs, and you got to get the starter out early. Now, I say 2 runs either way. If the Phillies get into the 6th and they're up by 2 and they're forcing the starter out of the game, they're probably going to win. If they keep it within 1 or 2 on the losing end, but they bounce the starter in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and they get 3 innings of relievers, I still think Philly might be favored in that situation because that bullpen has just been so sketchy. So in order for LA to win the series, they got to hit like they've been hitting. They got to swing the bat. They got to put up the numbers offensively. They got to build a decent enough lead when they do get to the bullpen that they're not getting crushed immediately. And really, the biggest key for LA is you got to stretch the starting pitching. Your starters got to get 7 for you. They got to try to get 8. And in order for that to happen, you're going to have to run the pitch counts up because a guy like Snell, he throws a lot of pitches. A guy like Glasnow, he's not going to be at 89 pitches going into the 8th inning. He's going to be high. So you got to be either willing to let the pitch count go and let these guys throw, or you got to be willing to go to a sketchy bullpen earlier than you want. And I don't know which is more dangerous. I truly don't. So that's what I got. I got Seattle against New York in the ALCS. I got LA versus the Brewers in the NLCS. And at this rate, if New York gets past Toronto into the ALCS, whether they play Seattle or Detroit, I don't really care. I think New York would end up going to the World Series. And if Philly loses to LA, if LA beats Philly and the Brewers beat the Cubs, I think LA's beating the Brewers because if they got past Philadelphia, who I think that's the World Series right there, the Dodgers are also playing very, very good baseball. The only caveat is these Brewers, man, that offense, that scrappy, that run the pitch count up, that put pressure on the defense, be a little menace in the box, could run LA's starting pitching out of the game earlier than they might want to, and you might be living in that bullpen more than you want if you're LA and the Brewers end up scrapping away at you. That could be tough, but I just don't see it happening. I see LA. I just don't believe in the Brewers as much as I believe in LA here. I got LA moving on, and in that case, I guess we got a matchup that everybody doesn't want but also really wants in New York and LA again. And if that's the situation, I got LA again. LA over New York in the World Series is my new prediction since I started with Cleveland, and that shit didn't work. They got 1 game out of it. Instead of winning 13 like I had predicted, they won 1 and went home. Kudos to Detroit. So it all starts tomorrow, baby, and I will be live streaming a whole bunch of stuff for the next 5 weeks. I'm going to be all over this. I'm going to be giving you episodes every morning after these games are played with my quick recap. I want to run this up, man. I want to give you guys content. I want you with me on the lives. I want you tuned in. I want to do this thing together. I want to run through it with you guys. I want you to tell me your thoughts. I'll give you mine. I want us to have a good time. It is the best time of the year, baby. MLB playoffs are here. They're in full swing, and we got 8 unbelievable teams. We got 8 very different teams. We got 8 teams that truly, it's 50-50 who's going to win this. I don't know that there's a heavy favorite. There's obviously favorites, but I don't know that there is one favorite over the other. This is the MLB playoffs, and you never know what you're going to get. So thank you guys for listening. This is the Hold My Ball podcast, and you will get in a whole bunch of these episodes over the next few weeks. So stay tuned in, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, whatever it is. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Let's kick the music in, and let's see ourselves